Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
In the absence of Mayor Justin Bibb, it is our pleasure to be hosting the annual event and your celebration of Independence Day. I also want to acknowledge who's in the house this evening. His Councilman Kelly, if he would stand and wave as well from Cleveland City Council, who is with us today. So it is indeed a pleasure to be here with you. We want to continue this celebration, and as was said by both of our mayors this evening, we're praying for peace. Peace for everyone, because it's important in these times in our country and as well as in the Middle East. Also, to our mayor, who's here from Berea and honoring this evening, we congratulate you and thank you for all of your service that you provide to the good citizens of Berea, but also being in partnership with us here in the city of Cleveland. We do have a proclamation for you this evening as well. Mayor, on behalf of Mayor Justin and Bibb, we want to present you this proclamation for all of your service, being a long-standing mayor in the city of Berea. It's our pleasure to be in partnership with you.
Tonight I'm here proud to be able to present to one of my favorite mayors in all of the world, Cyril Kleem, this proclamation on behalf of this board that you see tonight. I've represented Berea for 20 years, and who knows, maybe in the future represent again. But in that period of time, longest term, most of that time, Mayor Kleem was the mayor of Berea, and I've watched firsthand the outstanding accomplishments and the progressive movement. Here's a great example. I live in the city of Strongsville. As big as the city of Strongsville is, we do not have an outdoor pool. If you haven't been to Berea, go to Coal Lake. Look at the beautiful, beautiful developments sparked by Mayor Kleem. They have an outdoor pool. You can tell that the birds are saying they have splash pads. It's a wonderful place for families to attend. Mayor Kleem had a little bit in common. He was the youngest of 8 children. I was the 6th out of 9, so I was just a little child. He got to be the baby boy. That was good. And our grandparents both came from through Ellis Island. Mine from Maryland, and obviously this from Lebanon. But if you read your booklet and see all the accomplishments, all the boards he served on, it's just, he's an outstanding alignment, and that's what we're tonight. I'm looking at his wife Melissa, the first lady of Berea, who's also a Facebook friend of mine, which means that I, as the most shameless grandfather on Facebook, she's had to witness all of my various grandchildren pictures, and I get a chance to see her lovely daughters from time to time. But on behalf of the state of Ohio, we just want people to make sure people know that when wonderful things are happening in Ohio, when we have wonderful leaders like Mayor Cyril Kleem in the state of Ohio watching. So please join me as I give this proclamation to my favorite Mayor Cyril Kleem, ladies and gentlemen.
Now it's time for the presentation of recognition of Mayor Cyril Kleem, introduced by his wife, Melissa. If you would like to read Mayor Cyril's full bio, it is located in our program book. Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to be here today with all of you and celebrating the independence of Lebanon. When I think about this, the first thing that comes to my mind as a current English instructor are all of the Lebanese students that I've had the pleasure to teach English. They are the most hardworking and perseverant students I have had the pleasure to teach. I have to say that.
he is really loved by everybody, and we're proud of him tremendously. I'm not going to go around and reading his Bible, but he's got a very impressive Bible. You can look at it in the program book. Mayor Kleem is one of the people who was probably one of the youngest mayors. He became a mayor, and he's been hard at work. So, Mayor Kleem, I would like to, on behalf of the American Lebanese Community Council, present you with this letter of appreciation. This is called the American Lebanese Community Council Recognition Award, presented to Mayor Cyril, City of Berea, in recognition and appreciation of your many years of dedicated services and leadership to our community. November 17, 2026. Thank you, Mayor. We also have a proclamation from the Ohio Senate, from the Senator-elect Hartman, the President of Ohio Senate, and Senator Lebanon, for you. Thank you. We also have a proclamation from the Berea County Council to you, Mayor Cyril. And we have one from the government coming. They didn't send it in time, so they called me yesterday. They said it should be coming soon. So as soon as it comes, I will let you know. Okay, we have another proclamation from the council, from the county council to our Lebanon Day and the 80th anniversary. Also, we have a proclamation from the county council, and another proclamation from the Senate House, Ohio Senate, from both senators. And we have a proclamation that Angela gave us from the city of Cleveland, from Mayor. Thank you so much. This is your, let's take some pictures.
Well, thank you, Pierre, everyone who's participated today. We appreciate it. I guess we're still waiting on that peanut bread. That's how important it is. Someone told me it's here, so now I know I got to make it. Right? So, but to the American Lebanese Community Council, I thank you, Mayor Bibb, Justin Bibb, City of Cleveland, thank you. I didn't really come prepared to say anything tonight, so I'll be brief, but really from the bottom of my heart, this is quite an honor. Pierre told me about it, I was humbled, and appreciate the fact that all of it came out tonight. My grandfather came to the United States from Lebanon in 1912. He was 12 years old. Came from a little village in northern Lebanon, about San. Even today, there's only a He was Antonius Haidar. When he got off the boat, he told them his name was Antonius, son of Kleem. He wrote down his name was Anthony Kleem. And he went back and married my grandmother, who was Elizabeth, her wife. And my grandmother came from a different situation. She was actually born in Mexico. Her parents immigrated from Lebanon to Mexico, then they went back after she was born in Mexico. And her father was a wealthy landowner, very different than my grandfather's story. And so she was kind of like a princess in Lebanon. She had servants and had people comb her hair for her. So at 16 years old, she leaves all that behind to move to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, and be a coal miner's wife. They had a hard life. Now, they didn't become Americans because they went down to the city hall and they took an oath. They became Americans because they were part of the American experience and the American experiment. All these people from different countries come together, live in the same neighborhood, speak different languages, different religions. Somehow they made it work. You know, they had very little. What little they had, they lost in the Depression. They raised their kids through the Depression. And then World War II broke out. And my father and my uncle, both about 17 years old, went off to war in the United States Army. They were Americans, I think. They lived the American experience. And it wasn't always easy to live through that. And they developed a great love for this country, too. I never knew my grandfather. He died when I was 2 weeks old. I spent a lot of time with my grandmother. I can remember picking grape leaves with her, and she would talk to me about how beautiful Lebanon was, the beautiful mountains, and the beautiful beaches. So she loved Lebanon. She loved this country too. She loved both. And oftentimes, people would say disparaging things about Lebanon, and she would stop them and say, "You've never been there, you don't know how beautiful it is." And if they said disparaging things about this country, she would stop them and say, "We love this country too." And if they didn't listen, she'd throw her shoe down. Right? If you ever had, you know what I'm talking about, those old school Lebanese grandmas, they had those hard wooden shoes, and they would hit you with it or throw it across the room and hit you from a distance. They were pretty good targets. And, you know, it was an old school way of life, right? You didn't mess with it. And so I want to thank all of you for this award. I think about my Lebanese heritage, about my grandmother, my grandfather, my dad, my uncle, all the Lebanese people I grew up with, from those who came so many years ago, those who came in more recent years. They're hard-working people. They're dedicated to their neighbors. That's how they survived. They took care of each other. They had great faith in God. They loved their neighbors. They give people the shirt off their back. They're the most generous people in the world. I used to have friends when I was growing up who were Lebanese, and they used to say to me, "Why are they yelling at me? They're standing so close to me and talking so loud." I go, "No, they're not yelling. This is how they are. They're emotional people, but they're emotional in a good way too, because they would give you anything. They will support you. They're always there for you. And it's such a wonderful, tight-knit, dedicated community." So I think of my grandparents today. They came here as Lebanese immigrants, and with a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, they became Lebanese Americans, just like so many people in this room. So God bless all of you.